Okay, Angel, your presentation begins now. Make sure that you say next so I can go to the next slide.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Vallejo Rojas, and today I want to talk about a topic that I really caught, sorry, that really caught my attention while researching methods for teaching English to children. And my presentation is called From Letters to Sounds, and it focuses on how phonics-based strategies used in native English-speaking contexts could improve English teaching in Colombian EFL classroom. Next, please. Hmm. Uh, First, I want to analyze the difference. These are the objectives. First of all, I want to analyze the differences between literacy acquisition in L1 or first language and EFL context. Then I will explain how neuroplasticity supports language learning in children. And finally, I will propose some practical strategies that teachers can adapt in Colombian classrooms. Next. In Colombian English teaching still depends depends a lot of memorization and traditional methods. Children usually learn the alphabet through letter names like A, B, C, D, etc. But they are not um, always taught the actual sounds behind those letters. Um, because Spanish is a highly phonetic language, students often apply Spanish pronunciation rules to English, and as a result, many learners um, can recognize words when reading, but they struggle to pronounce them correctly or read um, independently. Next, please. Okay, this is where phonics becomes important. In native English classrooms, teachers usually focus on phonemes, meaning the sounds of the language, instead of only teaching the letter names. For example, we have here the letter P, and it's not only thought as a P with a name, but also is thought as the sound P. And this change everything because students can uh, can begin blending sounds to read words naturally um, instead of simply memorizing the words. Next, please. Okay, neuroplasticity. Another important factor is neuroplasticity. Children's brains are especially adaptable before the age of 8, which makes early language learning much easier for them. When children are exposed to English phonemes early, their brains begin recognizing sounds and patterns that do not exist in the native language that the child has, like maybe in this case, Spanish. So this can also help to prevent the fossilization. That means um, pronunciation mistakes be, that become that became permanent over time. Please, the next. Okay, the literacy part. Um, However, there is an important difference between native learners and EFL learners. There's a lot of difference. The children already speak English before learning to read it, while Colombian children are usually learning to read and speak English at the same time as they do in Spanish. And because of this, teachers need to provide more support through visuals, through repetition, uh, through gestures, and context instead of simply copying native methods. The next, please. Okay. And one useful strategy is multisensory engagement. Um, Programs like Jolly Phonic combine movement, visuals, and sounds together. For example, children may imitate the snake movement while producing the S sounds. We have here this flashcard with a nest with a snake, and that the teachers do usually do is to pronounce the sound and do a gesture and then teach them the word snake. So this helps learners create strong memory connections and makes learning more interactive and meaningful. The next, please. And as a second strategy, we have systematic blending. Instead of memorizing complete words, students learn to combine sounds step by step. For example, with the word sun, students identify the graphemes, the letter S, U, N, and then pronounce each sound, and then blend them together to pronounce the entire word, sun. So these helps children become more independent reader because they learn how to decode unfamiliar words and to see patterns in the words. The next. And to conclude, adaptive phonics-based strategies to Colombian EFL classroom uh, could improve pronunciation, could improve reading skills and confidence from an early age. Um, and if we focus more on sounds instead of only letter names, children can develop a deeper understanding um, on how English works and uh, teaching children how English sounds, not only how it looks, can transforms the way they experience the language.
That was right on time. That's crazy. So, who is ready to begin with their questions? Okay, Maria. You're muted, honey.
How can games or interactive and activities help students learn English, sounds, and leather better?
But I think the interactive activities are very important um, when it's about to teach the pronunciation and the pronunciation rules. And usually the interactive activities call more the attention for the kids, for the child, so they can understand more, they can concentrate more and remember the most of the parts the lesson that you're teaching them.
Thank you. Gina?
Okay, what strategy would you use to teach sounds in a more didactic way? so that students don't use memorize the letters.
I think there's a lot of strategies that we can use. Um, the strategy that is more used is teaching through songs, singing the words, sing about the, I don't know, you choose a topic and you say, today we're going to learn about the weather, about the animals, and through these activities, the kids, the childs can remember more, can learn more, because they're not just um, repeating and repeating a lot of times a word like a robot, but they doing with some rhythm, so they uh, like maybe get some excited about that. Hey, we're singing, and I like this song. I like the rhythm, so they can remember what I they're learning.
Thank you, Lorena.
Okay. Why is the use of phonics considered an effective strategy for supporting early English literacy development in Colombian EFL classrooms?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear too well.
Okay. Why is the use of phonics considered an effective strategy for supporting early English literacy development in Colombian EFL classrooms?
Okay, the importance is when we're learning to read in Spanish, um, we usually start with MA, and the teacher or our parents say la M con la ma. So we learn that the sound with the M with the A is ma. But in English, when we are in the first grades, like um, um, normally we don't receive this kind of teaching from the English teachers, right? They teach us like this is number one, and this is the pronunciation one, or this is number two, or this is the letter
Mhm.
A, but they don't teach us um, why or when the pronunciation of the letter A change, if it's in front of, is if it's in the first part of the word, or is in the middle, or is in the last part. So this is important because if we receive this kind of um, lessons, um, will be um, is easier for us, or easier for the child to start reading, and they're not feeling like maybe it's frustrating because they don't know what is the pronunciation of the word, or they afraid to have a wrong pronunciation, so they don't have the courage to read or to talk aloud. So I think it's very important um, to is sorry, is
To
very
keep
important.
working on that.
Yeah, to keep working on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So, Angel, very good presentation. It made me remember when I used to work at Colegio Claret in Cali in 2013, long time ago. We used Jolly Phonics. So when I saw the S in my head, I was like, the snake is in the grass, the snake is in the grass. The snake is in the grass, and I remember everything. And yeah, something you said, you had very good information. The only thing that I will say, just make sure that you do the distinction between a public school and a private school, because usually in private schools they are actually doing phonetic work, which is sad that they're not doing it in elementary schools or in high schools in public schools because the facilitation process wouldn't be as bad as it is sometimes if we start using blending and all these other tools that we have. Your presentation was very clear, very interesting, very engaging. I love that. And you definitely know what you're talking about. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.